What's up, YouTube? The V-TamerdotEXE. And I know it's been a minute. I always say that, and I'm overdue for this. But today I got you a deck profile video, but not just any random deck profile video. This is a deck that I took recently to the Top Cut Events Regionals, and I got top 128. Nothing too crazy. I was just one win away from getting top 64, and perhaps for like the first draft of of this deck. And you guys already know what it is. You guys clicked on the link for this reason, and that deck is Hexeblaumon. If you play blue, you're familiar with the source stripping mechanic. No one does that mechanic better than this guy. Maybe Tommy Korikaku comes close, but Hexeblaumon is the king of that mechanic. And if you don't know why, well, I'll just tell you. Hexeblaumon says, when attacking, you trash two sources off of one of your opponent's Digimon. If they have a naked Digimon after that, it gains jamming. So it's pretty safe against security outside of options. But the real kicker is the second effect, which is all turns, all your opponent's Digimon without any sources can attack or block. This card's really good. It sort of takes a hit in BT8 because, DNA Digivolving is a big thing, and that's how they can play around this card. But this card's still really strong. And instead of playing Blue Hybrid for this tournament, I wanted to play this card. A lot of my friends know how much I like playing this card. The card's really fun. But that being said, I'll go ahead and just talk about the deck itself, right? To get started. Oh, actually, and by the way, cool thing about this tournament is I started off hot. Like I was like 4-1, and then I lost the last two games. It was like a 7-round tournament, and then that was done. But the cool thing is like the matches that I lost to, I lost to I lost to Imperialdramon early, to the guy who I believe got like top 16 or top 8. And then I lost to Yellow Rapidmon. Pretty good deck. I think I could have played that matchup a little better, but at least it taught me what things I may want to change with this build. And then after that, I lost to the last fella. I was playing like a blue hybrid armor rush deck. It's pretty sick, very aggressive. If I couldn't establish board early, then he was just gonna run through my stack, and that's what he did. Overall, great tournament. Had a lot of fun. Everyone I played it with was pretty cool. People that know me know that I don't like doing online tournaments. They're not my thing. I have trust issues, but that's not the point. Let's get into this deck profile. To start off, I'm playing 4 Kiaramons and 1 Upamon. Unfortunately for this deck, you rely on these cards a lot for your draw engine, and you got to constantly abuse it because early on you're like kind of scrapping for pieces. But once you resolve these a couple of times, Kiaramon, when you strip a source, you draw a card. Upamon, when you attack while your opponent has a naked Digimon, you draw a card. You need these draws. They're very important. I won't really go much into it because you guys probably already know about these from BT7. So I'll move these over here. Then onto the rookie lineup. We're trying to gain memory, and we're trying to gain a lot of memory. And we're doing that with 4 Gomamons and then 4 Blucomons. All 8 of these cards have that yellow Patamon effect, but except when you strip a source, you gain a memory. If you abuse these multiple times over the game, you are effectively putting your board state much further ahead of your opponents. And you get more turns effectively, right? So these cards are good. They're very fun. I play 8. The only thing that sucks about these is that they're kind of bricky unless you have other ways to search. But using this with this is just you gaining memory and you drawing a lot of cards. And then you find the pieces you want, and then you do all the nice stuff. But that's them. And then we'll play 12 rookies total. The last 4 are double Madoki, double Siako. You guys kind of already know why these cards are good, but I just kind of want to talk about the matchups. This card's really good against Imperialdramon. When you have like a Hexblow stack and you put this, you make it so that they can't use Blue Memory Boost, they can't Hammer Spark, and the Hammer Spark or Ice Wand, their security won't, trigger. So this is good against that matchup. And this card is mainly for Mastimon, right? In this format, it's mainly for Mastimon. The Godomon lets them Digivolve into like a Lady Devi and an Angelomon for 1. You put this card out there to prevent them from doing that. And then when you want them to Digivolve over their like Godomon into the Lady Devi or the Devimon, or Lady Devi or the Angelomon for the full cost. And then immediately on your turn, you want to strip it away so that they can't do some kind of play where they pass memory onto your turn and then DNA Digivolve end of turn. So that's what he's for. So overall, good cards. And, Maybe I don't know if I'll change the ratios. I probably would. I think like the rookies, the way they currently are really nasty, and these kind of did help me a lot in the games that I did win. So, but I'm still messing around with it. And if you have any suggestions, right, of what kind of rookies you like in this format, post it in the video below and tell me why, and I might try it. It might be sick. But on to the champion lineups. We're playing Angemon. And this card has been a lot better. Like, actually, let me just say, this card is like the MVP of all my wins. A lot of decks in this format are very aggressive. They're attacking security very quickly. And initially, I didn't want to play it at 4 because I didn't want to see it early. Because I was like, the game's going to be a little slower. It's going to take a while before my opponent checks anything. I was wrong. Everyone who, a lot of people outside of like the Rapid Yellowmon, the Rapid Yellow Hybrid player, were aggressively attacking security. And if I can proc this card, which says if you have 3 or less security, when you Digivolve from this card, you recover +1. So it lets Hexeblaumon play, at their own tempo. When your opponent is trying to, clear your stack very quickly, you recover, and then you set up your board. And now your opponent sort of wasted a lot of resources clearing your stack, checking some pretty decent options or or tamers, and then you're able to make a bigger push. So this card's really nasty, and it's a dual color. So obviously you're gonna foreshadowing what the rest of the deck kind of goes with. And then we're playing double Hookmon. Actually, before I go to Hookmon, the inherited effect is really strong. When attacking, if you have 3 or more security, you can return to level 3. This is mainly relevant to get rid of your opponent's Modoki Betamons and other memory blockers. But just wanted to mention that. We're playing double Hookmon, which is also really good in this build. Actually, he did a lot better than I thought too. But its effect is when attacking, trash 1 source off your opponent's Digimon. Nothing too crazy. The most relevant thing here is that he's a dual color. And I'll mention, you'll see why later. But double Hookmon. And then because you already know that these cards allow me to DNA Digivolve, we wanted to play the 3 cost, Tobyumon to be able to just raw dog it for 3, or hard cast it for 3, excuse me. Hard cast for 3, and then DNA right away into your ultimate. So, and it's a 1 cost Digivolve, so that's kind of nice. But 3 Tobyumons, and then 2 hybrids. And I'm kind of rushing through this deck profile. I don't want it to be too long. I always make the mistake of making the video too long. But Kumamon has a stripping mechanic, so it synergizes with the deck. It lets you proc the Kyaramon. You gain the memory with the Gomamon, Blukamon. And it's a hybrid, so I don't really got to go into the detail on that. But 2 Kumamons. That's the champion lineup. Let's see if I can make more space over here. On to the ultimate. I look kind of sloppy, but well. We're playing 4 Majiramons. I strongly believe this is perhaps the best blue ultimate in the game currently. It has a Savior Hackmon effect, which is, unsuspend your Mega. It's really good. And this card helps me win a lot of games. The Win Digivolving effect is when you Digivolve, you trash the top source of your opponent's Digimon. So that's really good to strip certain relevant cards that you don't want your opponent to have. But the inherited effect is the real kicker with this guy. And that is, if your opponent has no Digimon at the source, even if they have nothing on board, right? Your Mega that's attacking, unsuspense. That's nuts. Because a lot of people don't want to leave anything on board when they're playing against this type of deck. So, because, they play into your Sora and Joes, they give you a bunch of memory and whatever. So they want to clear the board, leave it naked. You can unsuspend when that happens with this card. Really nasty. And then, because we're playing these dual colors here, you already know we're DNA Digivolving. And we're doing that into Shakomon. Shakomon's effect is when Digivolving, recover +1 if you have 5 or less for security. If you DNA Digivolve into this card, not only do you recover, but you also return a level, or you return a Mon on your opponent's side whose level is equal to or less than the number of cards you have in your security. So this is pretty good. Especially if you see this early, you get kind of like early board control with this card. So really nasty. Inherited effect just does come up a lot, which is when attacking, minus 3000 DP on one of your opponent's Mons. This lets you delete, the memory blockers or any rookie in general, And it lets your Mega attack over other Megas because it'll reduce their, their stats by 3,000. So really good card. I had it at 3 because my fourth card is Chimeramon. This card, I'm kind of debating now playing another one, but this card came in clutch in a lot of my games because now that I play the Hookmon, which is a black and blue card, and then you have the Angemon, the Chimeramon has effectively 4 colors, yellow, blue, and then black, and then counting itself as white. So when you digivolve into this card, you could tuck in, right, anyone, or if you could tuck in dual colors, great, and it'll reduce your opponent's, it's like a mini board clear, right? Or it reduces your opponent's DP by 4,000, and it effectively gains 4,000 DP, and you could attack over some of these Megas. So that's really good. But the reason why I like this card is because he counts as like the 5th Majiramon in effect, right? Because if Majiramon's in your discard, you digivolve into Chimeramon, you can put Majiramon under your stack. And so your Mega will still be able to unsuspend. So this card had a lot of utility. I liked it a lot. May debate on putting another one, but again, still messing with the ratios. But that's all for the ultimates. On to the Megas. As I mentioned, we're playing the king of the source stripping mechanic, triple Hexeblaumon. I already kind of briefly talked about why this card's good, and it just is, right? With Majiramon, it unsuspends and it has jamming, so you're attacking twice, assuming your opponent has a naked Digimon on board. And with Shakomon, you're deleting rookies while you're attacking. Kind of cool. And Chimeramon, just Chimeramon. But this card's insane. You want it to stall for like a turn or two to be able to do the play you're trying to do. This card's also really good against, armored Digimon, because if they're suspended, most armors expect their guys to live when you attack over them because of the armor mechanic. But Hexeblaumon and anything else that strips will strip it completely naked when you attack into the armor, and then they have no sources, so they can't, armor to keep their mon on board. You just kill them right away. So I use that to attack over Rydramon, to attack over, and Rydramon's like the main card you want to get rid of for a lot of reasons. But card's really good. I have it at 3 though because you can now play around this card more easily with the DNA Digivolve mechanic, and a lot of decks that I played against today were doing that. So that's why I cut it to 3. And it ended up being the better payoff because we're playing his brother, Azulomon. This card has been insanely clutch, especially with the Majiramon. Azulomon, if you know from like last format, says when digivolving, you trash one source off of all your opponent's mon. Then Azulomon you gain a memory for each naked Digimon they have on board. The common Imperialdramon play, is they attack with XVmon, and then, they played Stingmon, DNA, and to Pyodramon, and then attack twice, right? Check 2 more securities. And then they play Dragon Mode to spawn the 2 Digimon from their sources. If you have an ultimate ready for when they do that play, you go into Azulomon, ideally over the Majiramon, and then Azulomon will strip one source off of the Dragon Mode, and then perhaps anyone else. But then you'll gain 2 memory because they have at least a Stingmon and an XVmon out on board. So you gain 2 memory, so effectively makes it a 3 cost. But if you have any of these rookies that give you memory, it'll digivolve for 2. And then it gains +1 security for every naked Digimon on your opponent's side. So you attack, check like 3 securities, and if you have Soren Jor, or if you could somehow strip the whole board naked, or you have Majiramon, you unsuspend. So you attack with the Zulomon, check 2 or 3 securities, or however many, unsuspend, swing again, potentially clearing stacks. Your opponent needs an option to sort of end their security to stop this play. So, and I stole a lot of wins I won. A lot of the wins came from this guy stealing wins with the Majiramon. So this card's really nasty. I do like it at 3, but I might tinker with the ratios. So that's that. And then the next card we play, in fact, the only reason why we waste time or deck space or even brain cells playing these dual color Digimon is because we're playing this guy, right? We're playing Imperialdramon, Paladin Mode. This whole channel is based off of this guy. So why would I not play this card? And if you don't know, right, get that out of the way. Paladin Mode is perhaps one of the nastiest cards in the format or in the game generally. And it synergizes with the rest of the cards in this deck. If you don't know what it does, right? Paladin Mode, the first part says when you Digivolve into this card, if you return a level 7 to the bottom of your deck from your trash, you can reduce the cost by 4, effectively making it a 3 cost. Now, when Digivolving, or when attacking, you have to eco bottom deck one of the dual color mons, right? And if you do, you purge all the sources off of one of your opponent's mons, and then you bottom deck everybody that's naked on your opponent's side of the board. So Hexeblaumon and like everyone else, Soren Joe, Majiramon, and everything is stripping sources. When your opponent has no board left or no sources left, you play this card and you bottom deck everything. Everything, right? I play this card mainly to deal with the Dragon Mode deck, Imperialdramon. Because if if your opponent does a combo, right, they're putting a lot of pressure on board and they're already checking multiple securities with, the XVmon, Stingmon play into Dino B or to Imperialdramon to Dragon Mode. You need to be able to like recover with these cards and then somehow Digivolve into this. And not in one turn, right? You're sort of building the stack in the back, anticipating them to do that play. And then you Digivolve into this card and you just wipe their whole board completely, right? And ideally, if you do it over a Zulamon, you go into a Zulamon, you attack, check a bunch of security. Then you do this to wipe their board. And that's your win con against that matchup. And I think that deck is like the most popular deck in the current meta. So unfortunately, you need this card. I need to see it in that matchup. And when I don't see this card, I kind of just lose. But regardless, it's it didn't even matter. That matchup doesn't even matter. We're playing this card because this is what the channel is about. It's about this card. So 3 Imperialdramons, might cut it to 2, maybe add another rookie or another option. But I do like it when it's checking security, especially because you're recovering a lot. If it's checking security, then there's been times when I Digivolve into this guy for a cost of 1, because you bounce 1 to the bottom from your discard, and then you trash everything, so you trigger the the Blukomon and the Gomamons, and then you draw a card. So play 3 of those. And yeah, that's it. That's it for the Digimon list. On to the Tamers. 2 Davises for consistency. Won't go much into that. 3 Soren Joes. I kind of missed the 4th one, but I also don't because I kind of expect a lot of Black War Greymons and Mossymon players. And the really good players are able to play around this card very efficiently, especially if you don't see your Hexeblaumon. And these Tamers get blown up anyway. So I want to be less reliant on Tamers and then more reliant on memory boost. So 2 of these and 2 of these. Howling Memory Boost, Strip, and Stun. Blue Memory Boost to add cards for consistency. I kind of want to bump this card to 4. I mean, to 3 at least, because a lot of the games I lost were because I was missing a piece, right? I was either missing a champion or I was missing the ultimate or the mega. And, every time I saw this card, I was never disappointed. It usually got me the card that I wanted. So I was, this with Davis and perhaps maybe another one. I don't know what to cut just yet, but would be something I would consider. And this card can't be, all the Tamer hate decks can't get rid of this card. They try to stop you with Gazimon or another memory blocker, but, you have a lot of outs to those cards. And Chimeramon, Shakomon, Angemon, just a lot of things that will get rid of, that sort of, those kind of, memory blocking Digimon. And the last card is just Ice Wall. That's the deck. Again, this deck was surprisingly very strong in a lot of my matchups. And it's kind of just built to fight Mossymon, Imperialdramon, and Armor Rush. If it wasn't any of those decks, I did notice I struggled a bit more. But overall, super sick. There's a lot of things I want to change about it, but I wanted to post it the way it was now because this is what I took. And it kind of was really fun. So that's it for the deck profile. I hope this is below 20 minutes. Thanks for watching. If you like this stuff, obviously like, subscribe. I'll try to, put more video content out there. But honestly, thanks again to all you guys for watching. I appreciate you all. I'll talk to y'all later. V-Tamer signing out.